I like clothes. And that might not seem like a particularly big deal or a controversial thing to say, but my journey with clothes has kind of been a bit long and complicated, ridden with guilt, and just altogether a little bit excessively dramatic, perhaps. But still worth talking about, which is why I'm making this video. The issue that I have with clothes is that before I decluttered everything at the start of my minimalism journey, they were the thing that I had the most of. Oh my goodness. And they were the thing that were the biggest emotional crutch for me. They were the thing that every single aspect of myself that I did not like, I thought I could fix by finding the perfect outfit, the perfect pair of shoes, the perfect skirt, the perfect top, the perfect thing that would make me like myself. And not only did this provide me with some sense of hope and some sense of power over the situation, but it was a really nice distraction. I was distracted from the fact that I did not really like myself all that much. It was very convenient, very fun, I dare say. Not healthy, not at all, but fun. But the thing I find quite interesting about this is that even before minimalism, even when I was spending my evenings on shopping websites, I felt guilty about it. There was a sense of shame. I liked clothes, but never liked that I liked clothes. And so at the start of my minimalism journey, I set out on a mission to be happy and confident and like myself regardless of what I was wearing. I had the theory that I should be happy in a bin bag. I should be happy wearing horrible clothes that didn't fit me. If I was truly confident, then I should be able to do that. And though I do think that there are elements of that that are somewhat laid in truth, it is very much cutting the nose off to spite the face. It feels a little excessively reactionary to the hole that I found myself in before minimalism. It's an area where intentionality is so important, but we are encouraged to consume excessive amounts to deal with each of the potential inadequacies that we feel. And also, I don't like that this is a thing, but it's definitely a thing, and it's a kind of societally pervasive idea of this trivialization of stereotypically female hobbies. I don't like that I thought that way. I don't like that there are still elements of myself that think that way. But, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, the girls who played football, the girls who skateboarded, they're just cooler. It's one of those things. And I think consequently I eschewed more feminine hobbies, or didn't allow myself to like them all that much just because I thought it was superficial. So I also think there's an element of that at play in my attitude towards clothes, which is sad, but I feel it important to be honest with you, so I thought it was worth noting. Because the thing is, even after minimalism, even after I had decided that, I'm going to be fine without buying new clothes, and clothes don't matter to me, and I am myself, and I'm completely unaffected by anything that I ever wear ever, I still put a lot of time and effort into looking at clothes on Depop, researching all the sustainable brands. I still enjoy looking at clothes. I like going on Pinterest and just looking, just letting my eyes do their thing. I clearly like clothes, but there's just there's this cloud of guilt around it, as if I'm not allowed to for all of these reasons that don't entirely make sense. It's always been I felt that liking clothes is a weakness. It's something to be ashamed about. It's something not to embrace. It's something to be secretive about. I always felt like I should have bigger and better things to concern myself with, which is kind of ironic when you consider the fact that I'm a musician. I have spent thousands of pounds, years of my life studying music, which is an art form, and yet there's this other art form that I choose to invalidate. I choose to not allow myself to enjoy because of reasons that are total crap, in all honesty. And yes, we shouldn't pay so much attention to clothes that it deprives us of time and money, but the opposite of that is not pretending that clothes don't matter at all, or that they have no influence on our lives whatsoever. The opposite of that is being intentional with what you buy, with what you wear, with how you shop, and only owning what you need and what you love. And this is why I think capsule wardrobes are so important, because we get to enjoy clothes, we get to look at clothes, enjoy the artistry that is clothes, but without falling victim to their sea witch spells and thinking that they're going to solve all of our problems and make all of our dreams come true. They're not. Now, if you know me at all, you know that it's not enough for me to simply say, I like clothes. Isn't that great? I have to back things up in some way. And that is what the rest of this video is going to be on. I have 4 reasons, some from psychological studies, some kind of anecdotal, some from ancient Greece, that are going to validate your liking of clothes. They're going to remove the fog of shame or guilt around liking clothes, because that's what we do here on this channel. Every opportunity to think is also an opportunity to overthink. And I should add as well, before I get into the list, that if you are completely happy with your relationship with clothes, this video kind of isn't for you. I hope you're enjoying yourself here. I hope you're having fun. But if you're happy with where you are currently in your life and with your attitude to clothes, this isn't for you. This is for the people who feel guilt and shame around liking something that it's perfectly okay to like. Number 1, wearing clothes is a physical experience, and there is a wealth of research on how our physical sensations affect us hormonally. I will link some studies in the description if you are so interested. But the main one that comes to mind is a TED talk that I'll put on the screen because I've forgotten the lady's name. And she talks about the importance of power poses. And I would strongly recommend going to watch it. But if I may quickly summarize it in my completely non-expert terms over here, if you hold yourself in such a way that's quite diminutive, if you sort of come into yourself and you try to make yourself look small, chemically, you become less confident. If you hold yourself kind of powerfully and occupying lots of space with big gestures and like what she calls them power poses, and I guess that's the best description, a pose of power, then chemically, again, you shift into this position of more confidence. And it's such a simple tweak. It's literally just how you hold yourself. But if a physical experience like that can affect you to that extent, then so can clothes. Wearing clothes is a physical experience. Wearing clothes affects how you hold yourself, how you sit, how you stand. The clothes that we wear can actually affect how we act and how we feel, which leads me on to point 2, which is an idea called enclothed cognition. And this is essentially talking about the symbolic meaning that we have behind clothes and how they affect the way that we feel and act. So the most obvious example of this would be uniforms. Generally, if you have lots of people wearing uniforms, they're going to act more uniform. And then anecdotally as well, if you wear sportswear, you're probably more likely to go and work out. If you wear work clothes, you're probably feeling like you're in a kind of work mode. But the study that I really enjoy, which again, I will link in the description so you can read that because I'm gonna probably butcher it here, is a study where subjects had to wear a white coat and do a series of tests. And essentially, the people who wore the white coat that they were told was a doctor's coat performed significantly better than the people who did the test in a white coat but were told it was an artist's robe. So there's some idea that the symbolic meaning that we give to the clothes that we wear actually affects how we perform. It affects how we think, it affects how we feel, it affects how we act. Number 3, choosing clothes to wear is ultimately a form of self-care. And I think that people may confuse clothes and self-care to mean that you deserve the best clothes or the most clothes or the most expensive clothes, or that, you know, you're treating yourself to something. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that you deserve to be thought of. You deserve to put thought into what you wear. It's taking the time to make the right decision for you. That's what's important. When Matt Diavella wears a t-shirt and jeans or chinos or whatever it is every single day, he's taken the time to make that best decision for him. That is a form of self-care. For you, it might be being comfortable or being stylish or dressing like someone you admire, or it could just be that feeling of wearing something that really fits. When I talk about self-care and what we deserve, I don't mean that we deserve the most expensive things or we deserve to treat ourselves necessarily. I just mean that we deserve to be considered when we make our choices. And that includes choosing what to wear. Take the time to consider yourself. What do you want? What do you like? For number 4, I would like to quote Seneca from his book Letters from a Stoic. Really, really interesting book following the philosophy of Stoicism that I've been banging on about a lot, but I just love it. And just to give it a bit of context, whoever you are representing something. It could be a belief, a religion, a philosophy, a lifestyle, a fandom, or just yourself, you know, for potential relationships or friendships or jobs, whatever it is, you represent something. And this is where our friend Seneca comes in. Let me give you, though, this one piece of advice. Refrain from following the example of those whose craving is for attention, not their own improvement, by doing certain things which are calculated to give rise to comment on your appearance or way of living generally. Avoid shabby attire, long hair, an unkempt beard, an outspoken dislike of silverware, sleeping on the ground, and all other misguided means to self-advertisement. The very name of philosophy, however modest the manner in which it is pursued, is unpopular enough as it is. Imagine what the reaction would be if we started dissociating ourselves from the conventions of society. Inwardly, everything should be different, but our outward face should conform with the crowd. Our clothes should not be gaudy, yet they should not be dowdy either. We should not keep silver plate with inlays of solid gold, but at the same time we should not imagine that doing without gold and silver is proof that we are leading the simple life. Let our aim be a way of life not diametrically opposed to, but better than that of the mob. Otherwise we shall repel and alienate the very people whose reform we desire. Owning fancy stuff doesn't make you a better person, but nor does owning nothing, nor does, turning away from the social norms. What you own and what you wear doesn't prove anything. The important things are how we act, how we make decisions, how we treat people, how we treat ourselves, how we think. Misguided means to self-advertisement is a foolish way to live at either side of the spectrum. Like almost everything in life, it's about finding a balance between the two, not dismissing a topic entirely, but also not drowning in it. If there's something that matters to you, it deserves to be represented favorably. And I think it's so important when it comes to a philosophy like minimalism, where it just starts off with decluttering a few things, tidying out your closet, sorting out your kitchen, that kind of thing. And before you know it, the ripples of it make it the most life-changing, life-altering thing you can imagine. The benefits of minimalism are so far-reaching, even though it just starts with this tiny kind of superficial seed. I think it's a philosophy that can help a lot of people, definitely not everyone, but a lot of people. Perhaps we have some sense of duty to represent it in a positive light. Not that should be the only reason that we do things, but it's an interesting point to consider. Anyway, to conclude, let's remove any guilt or shame that we may have around liking clothes. There's this huge aspect of life that is enjoyable and that I and many of us, I'm sure, we're not allowing ourselves to enjoy. Also, apologies for the delay on my perfect capsule wardrobe of my 30s video, but I put on quite a lot of weight during lockdown, and now I'm in between clothes sizes, so I feel really reluctant to get rid of anything, but also to buy anything because I don't know what size I am, and I've started going to the gym again, so maybe I'll end up back at the size I was. Maybe this is me now, I don't know, but that's why. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you so much to all of my patrons for supporting the channel. It means so much to me. If you'd like to support the channel from as little as £1, then the description will be in the description. That didn't sound right. Then the link will be in the description. And I hope you're all doing very well. And I shall see you all later. Keep liking what you like. It's allowed. I hereby formally allow it. See you later. All the way, dust to dust.